I had my surgery at Musgrove Park Hospital in Taunton in the UK. It was free on the NHS. At the morning of the surgery, I went in at about 7 o'clock in the morning. Went to reception. They give you a little wristband with your name on, and then I went and sat in the like the waiting area. There were 4 people in there in total. I was third on the waiting list. So the first one went down after about an hour really, but before that, the surgeon comes round along with the anaesthetist and a doctor, and they talk you through what's going to happen. You sign a little form that says that you understand the procedure, and then off they go to theatre. They take the first one, and you just really sit around waiting. You're allowed to drink bits of water and whatnot. They also give you a large dose of paracetamol just before you're due in for surgery, like maybe half an hour before. And that tastes disgusting. Tastes like rotten eggs. Not that I've had rotten eggs, that's what I imagine rotten eggs to taste like. And about 25 to 1 in the afternoon, the theatre technician came along and came to get me. Sorry. And we walked down to theatre, which isn't far from like the holding area. Then you get put in this massive big chair. I did ask them how fat do you think I am, but you get put in this huge chair in like the theatre technician's area while they're prepping theatre. I mean, they must have started prepping it already because I was only there for like 5 minutes maybe, and then these doors open and you walk into theatre. You get on this bed and like the bed's like tilted so that your head's a little bit higher, and your feet rest against this like black pad, and you put your arms in troughs, and then the anaesthetists there and the lab technicians and that are there, and the lab technicians are excellent. Like, they put you at ease. They make you feel like it's not, it's no big deal, when I suppose really it is. And then so the in my case, the anaesthetist was trying to find a vein. Found it quite difficult to find one. Had to go in for like 4 different areas. Eventually got one in my forearm. And then the next thing you know, they're saying to me, "Oh, you're going to go to sleep now, Helen." I did tell them to be careful. I'm sure they always are. It's just one of those stupid things you say, I suppose, when you're slightly panicked. And then it just fell asleep. The next thing I remember was a nurse calling me, constantly calling my name when I was in recovery. And I'm just lying there thinking, yeah, I can hear you, love. Just get lost. I'm sleeping here. So obviously you respond to them. Then you sort of in and out of sleep. And then I realised my friend was there. So I made a bit more of an effort to wake up and have a sort of a conversation with her. Then the surgeon came round just to make sure I was all right. And then I must have gone to sleep. I remember I have sleep apnea. I remember saying to them I need my CPAP on, which is the face mask and the breathing tube that keeps you alive, I suppose, whilst you're asleep. So yeah, that was put on, and then I must have gone to sleep for a little bit, and then I woke up and I was in a ward, like a general ward, and my friend was still there, so I had a little chat with her, and the curtain was pulled around, and I asked her to look at my wounds, so she pulled my nightie up, and they just had like 5 little like sticky skin plaster things on there. There was blood on them, but it's to be expected. That's what they're there for. So then after that, I was like sleeping on and off, and then I must have woken up about maybe 7 or 8 in the evening and thought, I think I'll go to the loo. And I didn't want a bedpan or anything like that. They'll bring you one if you ask, but they sort of want you to get up and move about. And as it goes, I was right next to where the toilets are, so I didn't have to like wander far because you're still a bit drowsy. Obviously, you've been asleep a long time. You've got a lot of drugs in you. So I still had my cannula in, so I took a little wheelie drip round. The nurse came with me the first time, and I was fine. I felt a little bit just drowsy, really, just so much medication, and then that was all fine. Went back to bed, just dozed really on and off, and because I've been asleep most of the day, I was then up for little bits in the night, just like read a magazine and keep my curtain drawn so I can have my light on because obviously everyone else is asleep. The nurses kept popping around asking me if I wanted painkillers. They give you paracetamol and morphine. They were giving me my drip first of all, but then once that got taken out after maybe like 12 hours, I had it in for like 12 hours, then they come around with Oromorph and paracetamol, like dissolvable paracetamol. I'd had it a couple of times, but it was giving me a migraine, so I asked for no more. So I didn't really have any painkillers, any pain relief, after about 12 hours. Um, Most people always say, well, I've heard a lot of people saying that, oh, it doesn't really hurt. You have a bit of wind, that's it. Actually, I found that I was in quite a lot of pain. Not from my wounds and not from any my organs or anything like that. Not from like being interfered with inside. It was more from, well, it was from the wind. Starts in your shoulders, and goes right down to your groin. And you just feel so bloated because they put so much air into you so that they can access your stomach and that. So and that has to go somewhere. There's only one way out, two ways out, I suppose. um, and yeah, it's just like a waiting game. It actually took about 10 days for that to go fully, and the first few days was really painful. I think when people say it doesn't really hurt, perhaps they've got a higher pain threshold than me, or perhaps it's like childbirth and where you soon forget the pain because the outcome is so great. Yeah, so I was in hospital for 2 days. I went in on the Tuesday at, like I say, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was discharged about 9 o'clock in the morning on the Thursday. They changed some of the dressings of the wounds. A couple of them were a little bit bloody. They take some blood just so they can send it off for whatever they need it for. Excuse me. And that was it. I could go home. They give you these like support stocking things so that you don't get DVT. That was the first thing to come off. They recommend that you leave it on for a few days, but honestly, it was digging in and it was really hurting. So yeah, got home. They came off. I'm not stupid. I was up and down the stairs to go to the toilet and things like that, and trying to move around just to get rid of the wind really. Normally, what I would have taken if I had trapped wind is soda water. Apparently, the bubbles in it disperse the wind through witchcraft, obviously. So you can't have any of that. You can't have carbonated drinks after you've had bariatric surgery. So they give you Windies tablets, and whether they work or not, I don't really know because the wind's that bad that it's it doesn't really touch it. So yeah, you're stiff, you're tired, you're very tired. You're not putting any fuel in your body. You're not eating. All you're drinking is water. Really, in my case, I was just drinking water. Like cold water or even room temperature water was hurting. It sort of gives you like this like stabbing sort of wind pain. But I found that drinking boiled water, hot, while it's still hot, really helped. Didn't hurt my stomach and I was getting my fluids in that way. I also, if I wanted colder water, I'd put lemon juice in it, like a lemon cordial thing, and that didn't hurt as much. I've no idea why, but it didn't seem to hurt as much. So for a week you're on fluids, clear liquids. And then after that, like from week 2 to 4, you can have pureed food, and from the couple of weeks after that, so from the end of week 4 to week 6, you can have mashed up like toddler sort of food, mashed potato, cottage pie, that sort of thing. The one thing that I found that is absolutely superb and it's really tasty is Weight Watchers carrot and lentil soup. It's easy to digest. It doesn't hurt at all. It fills you up. Also Snacker Jacks, which for those of you that don't know are like rice cakes. The cheese flavour is lower in fat than the other flavours I've found, and that I thought it might hurt a little bit because they're crunchy, but actually they sort of like dissolve on the way down and they don't hurt at all once they're in your pouch. So now this is week 7 post-op. For lunch I would have like a can of soup and a couple of Snacker Jacks maybe. For dinner, perhaps a cottage pie or a piece of salmon. I'm vegetarian, so I'm quite limited in the protein I can take on, but I try and eat fish. Salmon and haddock I'm alright with. Everything else it's not great, but I do try and eat the salmon and haddock despite me being vegetarian, because I'm aware that I need to take on the protein. Carbohydrates, I eat bits of mashed potato, sometimes with a bit of gravy to make it a bit sloppier. A little bit of broccoli as long as it's well cooked so that it's quite soft. A fish pie, that sort of thing. Just anything really that you will give a toddler that's quite easy to chew and swallow. And the portion size, I always eat off a side plate, and even then it's like this big, it's tiny. So that's my experience so far. If anyone's got any questions, anything they'd like to ask, I'll be happy to answer them. I know a lot of you are in America and your experience may have differed greatly. I just thought I'd give like a UK perspective.